Oh man, I can't believe I get to review Mega Man X today. Although, I wonder where my Super Nintendo is. It doesn't seem to be on the shelf where it should be. I remember it was talking during my last two reviews, but that couldn't have been real. It must have been some dream, right?
What was a dream, Matt?
Mega Man X was released as Rockman X for the Super Famicom in Japan on December 17th, 1993, Europe on May 1st, 1994, and for the Super Nintendo in North America sometime during January 1994. The version that I owned as a kid, and still own, was the Majesco release. This was a budget re-release, where Mexican-based company Majesco reprinted the title around the end of the Super Nintendo's life cycle. This is an official re-release with Capcom's approval, and as far as I can tell, it plays exactly the same. If any of you aren't familiar with Mega Man X, then that is A-OK. The reason why is because Mega Man X, while being in the Mega Man canon, doesn't require knowledge of earlier Mega Man games to play it. Mega Man X is set in the year 2120. In this game, Mega Man is referred to as X, and he works alongside the Maverick Hunters to stop rogue robots, known as Mavericks, from, well, going rogue. Once you get past the intro level, which gives you as much backstory a side-scroller like this could give you at the time, outside of the manual, and a great way to get accustomed to the controls, might I add, you have to face off against 8 rogue Mavericks, but not as Zero. Yes, the cool new guy that you get introduced to that looks like the coolest guy at Anime High isn't playable in this game, but I digress. Back to the Mavericks. The 8 Mavericks you get to fight are Chill Penguin, Spark Mandrill, Armored Armadillo, Launch Octopus, Boomer Kuwanger, Sting Chameleon, Storm Eagle, and Flame Mammoth. There is a certain order you can go by, but really, you can beat them in any order you like. While certain abilities are surefire ways to beat every boss in basically under 5 minutes, that does end up making the game a bit too easy. That's actually one of my biggest criticisms of the game. While it may be because I played almost every level dozens of times in my youth before finally getting up to the final stretch only recently, but this game's difficulty scale is very inconsistent. The second you end up beating every boss, you get the chance to go through 4 extremely difficult levels where the quote-unquote mini-bosses end up being bosses you have already faced before. However, if you know which weakness affects each boss, you can get through this part with relative ease. It's when you have to go up against the final bosses in each of these levels that things become problematic. While some of the previous bosses' weaknesses were head-scratchers, many of them made sense, and because you didn't have all these powers yet, process of elimination was rather easy. For example, what is this boss's weakness? Or this one? And what if its weakness was a power that you used throughout the level on some random grunt bots? Obviously you have to get good, like I did, but I would have preferred the difficulty to be scaled a bit better. Thankfully, Capcom does give you some help before going on to fight these final bosses. Throughout every level, there are hidden hearts, hidden quote-unquote sub-tanks, and even hidden mini-bosses that can help you get even more upgrades to boost your strength. I'm not going to give away every location, just like I won't give away every boss's weakness, because I do think that takes away a level of excitement from the game. Once you beat every boss again, every boss in these harder levels, and Vile, who seemed like a big deal early on but kind of isn't, you can finally take on Sigma. Just kidding, you get to fight his dog. Yes, Phytobot is actually a formidable fight, and his weakness makes no sense. After that, you can finally take on Sigma, who may in fact be your father. After beating him, which means that you have survived beating up a man and his dog, you are in for a surprise. His floating head proceeds to attach itself to a giant robot body. Nihon ga daisuki desu. Sigmatron Deathbot Man also has a weakness as well. It, too, does not make sense. I won't show the ending cutscene here, but I'll just say that despite you winning, it is depressing as hell. So, what's the final verdict? Well, despite its issues with difficulty, the music in this game has some of the most memorable tracks I have ever heard. Sometimes I'll catch myself humming the music from the intro level and not even notice. The character models are stunning, and the amount of enemies on screen really push this console to its limits. And sure, sometimes it showed, but most of the time the game ran flawlessly. All of the game's hidden secrets will leave you playing for hours, and some may even seem like a hoax, but remember that you must defeat Shenlong to stand a chance. Wait, Is that an actual line? Guys, is Shenlong a character in the game? I'll give Mega Man X 4.5 Fidobots. So I don't know about you, but going down memory lane for me was a heck of a lot of fun. In fact, so much fun that maybe, I'm just saying maybe, I could play the cartridge.
Geez, at least buy a console dinner first.
Oh, you.